Hi there everybody, it's Sue Ralph here and I'm back today to go through some more paint pouring with you using the Indigo Blue Alchemy paint pouring kit. So just below here I have got a couple of ones that I've already done just to show you, and this is one that I made using paint puddles, and a few people have asked me how I did this, so I thought I would come in today and I will show you exactly how I've done that. It's just puddles of paint which have been done in a circle, as you can see, and then just flicked, and some of them look like holly leaves. I don't know what you think, but anyway, I'm going to show you that one, and I'm going to show you a couple of ways of making yourself some little canvases which could be used as presents, whether you give them away sort of for little birthday presents. It's just a little bit of something different to do. Oops. I've got my gloves on ready, but the trouble is it sort of sticks a little bit to the paint pours because they're acrylic, and I've put varnish on the top now, so of course if you touch plastic with plastic it tends to stick to each other. And that's just another one just to show you some of the different effects that you can get with a paint pouring. Anyway, I'm going to crack on and I'm going to show you how I've done this one. So what we need first of all is all of our paints, which I've already mixed up together so you don't have to sit and watch me do that. So what I've done, I've got hunter green, and what I've done is I've put them in these little bottles with a tip to it so that I can pour out the paint in a small measured way, because I'm only going to be using the smaller boards. So as I said, I've got hunter green, and I've got blue tack on the top of them, and that's just to stop the air from getting to it and drying it out. This is olive waistcoat. Then I have Emerald City, and I have the Postbox Red, and that's for the berries. So I'm going to just get these all ready, and the other thing that you'll need to do is you'll need to have some white, which I've mixed up with the G So Good, and I've added the Go Flow to that one. So it's 1 teaspoon of paint to 2 teaspoons of the Go Flow, and I haven't put any silicone oil in this one. So what I'm going to do, if I can just get this into focus, paint a quick shake, and then I'm just going to pour some over just to totally cover the board. And then you can spread it out with a spatula, or you can just do it with a lolly stick. It's entirely up to you. As I've got the lolly sticks here, I'm just going to use these. So I'm just going to bring the paint right out to the sides, like so. Just make sure you fill in any little gaps. Okay, just go all the way around. With this one, because we're not going to do a dirty pour or flip cup or anything, you want to make sure that you've got the paint all the way around, slightly running off the side. Now, what I'm going to do with these little bottles, I'm going to create little rings of colour, but what I want to do, because I want to do a wreath, I'm going to cheat slightly, and I'm going to use one of the cups that come in the kit. And I'm just going to use this part to make a circle in my white paint so I can see where to add my circle of colours. So I'm literally just going to sit it on top, and then I'm going to lift it up. And you probably won't be able to pick this up on the camera, but there's a very faint circle just in the middle there so I can see where I need to add my rings of colour. So I'm going to start off with the hunter green, and I'm just going to put puddles of colour in a circle, and this one you can see it's already started to spread out a lot more than it did on my first one. And then I'm going to come in with another colour green. Now this is the metallic So this is the Emerald Slippers. Just double check. No, Emerald City. Emerald City. So with paint pouring, you never quite know what you're going to get, and this is gone totally different. It's a different look to the one that I did earlier on. I didn't get all these cells popping out before. Oh, now this one doesn't seem to want to come out. Oh no, so I think we're going to have to stick with the two. So let's pop some different colour on top of this one. And a darker one on top of this green. And this is looking totally different. So you never quite know what to expect when you do this. Let's just take the top off this one and see if I can pour some out very carefully. You don't have to have, obviously, these with the little points to them. It's just that I happen to have them and I thought it might be quite a good idea to try and use them. But, as you can see, I have managed to splash paint on it. So it doesn't quite come out as you would expect. Anyway, let's put some more white paint on, just to run that green splash off the side, if I can. Just get my lolly stick again. Now I have to say, I am liking the way that the cells have all popped out on this one. I think that does look pretty cool. Right, so let's go back in with some different colours in the middle of these. I don't think I'm going to need to lift this up and tip it around because I think the colours themselves have already sort of just flowed out a lot more. It could be that the way I've mixed this white paint up, it has slightly more water in it, slightly runnier than the other one, and that's what's caused this effect. It's just changed totally. So that's the thing when you're doing paint pours, you never quite know what you're going to get, which is very interesting. Let's just put little drops of colour. See what happens here. And because I had a little drop come out of the, that was the olive waistcoat, I've got two colours there. But I am quite liking that. Now I'm a little bit unsure as to whether to put the red on yet, because I'm just wondering if the red is going to just change totally and go to a sort of a brown colour. So I think what I might have to do is leave this one for a little while just to settle, and then maybe go back in and pop some reds on it, because as you can see it's totally different from that one. But just to show you what I did then, once I put all the colours down, I then just brought in a very small, it's like a needle pointed tool. Well, you can't really see today, my camera's playing up for some reason. There we go. And I'm just going to pull the paint out to sort of to feather some of the colours out. So just very gently run through the colours into the white. I'm just got a tissue just to take some of that colour off. I don't want to contaminate it too much. Just keep pulling through the colours, and then you get a mixture then. And some of these are starting to look a little bit like peacock feathers, so maybe we're not going to be doing a Christmas wreath. Maybe this is going to be just something totally different. But that's what I do love about this craft, that you never quite know what you're going to end up with. So maybe I don't come on with an idea to share with you again, because it's not going to happen. Okay. Right, I think I'll bring the blowtorch in just a minute, just to see if if I can get any more cells to pop up. But this is looking quite unusual because obviously I had a wreath in mind. But I'm quite liking this. So just keep going until you feel that you're happy with the design. And now I'm going to bring my blowtorch in. And this is just to see if I can get any more cells. Oh yeah, we've got a few more popping up. Just a quick glance and then turn that off. If you don't have a blowtorch, it doesn't matter. The blowtorch will pop any bubbles that you have within your paint, but it will also bring up the silicone which is in my colours, which has disappeared under the white a little bit, and then that pops back up again. Anyway, I'm going to leave that as it is for now. I'll just try and show you a little bit closer what's been happening. And then we'll come back to this towards the end of the video and see how it's gone on, and maybe add a bit red for a little bit of extra colour. But I'll move this out of the way for now. And this one is one that I did using string. And I don't know if you can see, but can you see those feather marks that I've made with the paint? And that's just pulling string through some paint, some white paint. And I'll show you that now. I'll bring that in. So here we go. It's all my colours. I'm going to pull the camera out slightly because this is, don't need it quite so close up, otherwise you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. Let me just move these out the way. So I have my colours already. I have Cinderella, which is a metallic paint. I have Wimbury Pie, which is just a normal matte paint. Then I thought I'd try the Purple Rain, which is one of the new opaque paints that Indigo Blue have brought out. And then I have Mulberry Bush, which again is one of the opaque paints. So it's more translucent. And Grandma's Teacup. So let's just see how this is going to pan out. So I have my board, which I'm going to place on a cup, like so. I think you've got that in picture there. And then what I've done with each of my colours, I have put in a piece of string. Well, this is baker's twine. Okay, and that's just going to be covered in paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pulling all different colours across this once I put some white paint on it. So I'm just going to add 2 more pieces of string to my colours. So at the moment I don't have anything in the Cinderella. So all you need to do is pop your string in and just put it into the paint. And again, this is the paint mixed up with the Go Flow. So 1 teaspoon of paint to 2 teaspoons of the Go Flow. So that's another colour in there. And then, let's see, Purple Rain. This is one of the new colours, as I said. So I'm going to pop that in. And what you could also do, if you wanted, is you could put different colours onto the string and then pull that through. So you have a multicoloured string, which would be quite good fun. But for today, we're just going to do single colours. So I'm going to be bringing in my paint again, my white paint. I'm now going to just take some of my string and I'm going to pop them on, curl them around, and I'm going to see what happens Just going to curl these around. Leaving the ends just off the sides so that I can actually pull them off. Right, I'm intrigued now to see what's going to happen with these after the last one. There we go. So, here we go. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to pull it so that hopefully it twists around. And I did notice before when I did it that the first one, because it's got more colour on it, didn't feather out as much, but we'll see what happens here now. So I'm just going to keep going until all the colour's gone off the one piece of string. I think it also depends on the sort of string that you use, because if you use really thick string you're going to get the thick swirls. If you use thinner string, obviously you're going to get the thinner twirls. But that's quite nice. I'm quite liking that where the whites come up through it. So there we go. This purple's working nicely, I think. Seem to be getting more of the cells coming up from the white using this purple. Maybe I shouldn't have left these on for quite so long. Oh, that's nice. It's definitely get some good cells when you start disturbing the paint, because I think with the white it tends to bring up the colours a little bit more. Let's put one through here and see what happens here. And again, you never quite know what you're going to get. So each time you do one of these, it's going to be totally different. Let's move some of that off because I'm not that keen. Quite a hard colour just there. Right, so we've got the blue left. Let's pull that off and see what happens. Right, I think we're going to mix the colours a little bit now. Let's get the pink one back in. Let's see if we can swirl that one around a bit more. Well, I'm liking the effect again. The pink and the purple down here is lovely. I just think, see if we can move this blue a little bit more, I think. The thing is, the more you play with these, you can either make it look better or sometimes you can just totally spoil it. So it's knowing when to stop sometimes. Try and get rid of that dark purple a little bit. Maybe bring some in here. Well, I'm quite liking that effect. Again, it's totally different from the first one that I did, but it's a very subtle, lots of colour here, and you've got lots of cells coming up. I think I'll get my torch on it now. And that's going to be interesting to see how that progresses. I'm going to see if I can bring it up for you to have a closer look. Whoops. So that you can see some of the way some of the cells are moving. There you go. Just in that corner there. All the cells are merging into each other. And just here, that's pretty cool, I think. And up there. So I'm going to leave this to dry. Okay, so I'm going to do this one. And this one I'm just going to have a little bit of fun. And I'm going to be using a couple of my metallic paints. And I've got one here that I've actually mixed up with the Luscious, and that's the Penny Dreadful. And again, what I've done is I've mixed 1 teaspoon of the Luscious powder into a paste with some distilled water, and then I've added 2 teaspoons of the, teaspoons of the Go Flow. I've got some Goldfinger, and I've also got some Leather Corset, which is a lovely brown, which changes shade slightly, you know, the more you add water to it. And some Burning Bonfire. And another metallic, which is the Pheasant Bronze. So let's get a little cup in. And what we're going to do with this one is I think we're going to mix some colours. But what I've done is I've used an empty one of my Go Flow bottles, and I've actually filled this with the porcelain paint, and I've also mixed up one with black paint. So don't throw your bottles away, because these are really useful, because you've got a great tip on here, and obviously you can keep them closed when you don't need them. So whatever you do, reuse your bottles. So I think we'll start off with some of the porcelain in the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some black, and this is mixed up with the black G So Good, so that's 1 teaspoon of that to 2 teaspoons of the Go Flow. Here I have got a piece of plastic, you probably won't see very well, and this is off one of the dies that I've received, and it's quite a thick plastic, so I'm going to try this and see if it works. Just tip that over onto my plastic, and then I'm going to try and slip it straight onto the middle. Yeah, that's not too bad. Right, so let's see what happens now. Whilst that's just draining down, I'm going to touch up the sides of this with black paint, just to make sure I've got black going all the way around. So I just want to give that just a couple of seconds or so, just to drain down so that all the colours are out. And just go all the way around and just check that you've got all those white sides covered in black. And then it just finishes it off nicer, I think. There we go. Right, so let's do the unveiling. This bit's always quite exciting because you never quite know what you're going to get. Here we go. If I remember to do it from this side, you can see it better. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Right. Oh, I'm loving this at the moment. Just tilt it so that we get that white totally covered. I don't want to pull those cells out too much, so just tease it gently to cover the white. Those metallic colours with the leather corset and the burning bonfire are lovely. Just wait until the paint all dries. I think you're going to have some super effects, especially with the money penny. Or I should say penny dreadful, the luscious, because once that's dried you're going to really see that shimmer and shine. Sorry about the light reflecting off it, you can't see it quite so well, but at the moment it's not very good for filming. I'm having to do it in the kitchen and it's getting dark outside. So I've got to have the overhead light on because it's not light enough. Right, so I think, just try and get into that last white patch. But I don't want it to go over the edge. But I think it's going to. Now if I could tip it back again. I might be able to cheat a little bit and put some more black down. Let's have a look. Right. Now, I'm really loving all this, all the cell work that's coming up here, and I really don't want to go too far and spoil that. So, do I stay like this? Or do I try and pull a little bit more out here, just so that it levels out a little bit? Just tip slightly. Now that I'm tipping this, I can actually see the penny dreadful a lot more, because against the black, obviously, it's quite stunning. So I hope I don't lose any of these beautiful cells. But there we go. So that's the last one off me today. And I hope you've enjoyed yourselves watching, and I'd love you to come back to see another one. So please subscribe to the Indigo Blue website if you've enjoyed doing this. And before I go, I'm just going to show you the green one. And I hope you can join us again soon. As you can see, it has spread out a little bit more. I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to add the red to this one. I quite like this one as it is. And I think if I add the red, I think it will spoil it. So that's from me today. And as I said, have fun and enjoy your paint pouring. See you again soon. Bye.